Hi everyone, you are Reddit exposed there, enjoy watching.
The Texas heat burned my skin through the open window, while an old country ballad crackled on the radio. Every sound, every mile, pulled me back to Emily. Her bell-bright laugh used to spill into this same hot air as we tore down these roads, high on hope and youth. We met in Austin, at a festival. She stood by the stage in a light sundress, eyes brighter than the stage lights. One glance and I was gone. We were a whirlwind, fast, bright, unstoppable until real life elbowed in. Her hunger for more, my fear of change, the tiny cracks that became fault lines. Today we split, felt like someone reached into my chest and tore loose a piece I still can't replace. She cried, voice shaking, told me we were different, that we needed different roads. I didn't stop her. I didn't know how. Years later I'm back on those roads, alone, letting memory tug at me. I tell myself she's happy, that she found her life. Still, under the ash of what we burned, a spark refuses to die, to wish that one day our paths might cross and the past might make sense, or at least hurt less. I pull over at dusk, the sky bleeds crimson and gold, the palette we used to watch from the roof of an old pickup. Now it's just my car and a lawn shadow keeping pace. Every curve makes her name loop in my head. Emily. I think about the life we might have had if it'd been braver, some small place by the ocean, kids, the kind of old where you hold hands without thinking. But life doesn't honor if it hands you what it hands you and keeps going. The pain dulled, but the scars stay. I live with it. I carry her laugh, her eyes, her scent, little reliquaries inside me. I'm grateful, even for the hurt, because it proves what we had was real. I cut the engine and step into evening air that smells like fresh cut grass, like her hair after summer rain. I close my eyes to hold the image, but it sifts away. I replay that first day, awkward looks, shy smiles, hopeful half sentences. We were young, and for a while our love was ablaze. And then it wasn't. Ash and cold. I run the old questions. What if it said more, held longer, shown up better? There's no edit for yesterday. All I can do is accept, forgive, and keep moving. Hard to move, though, when part of me still lives back there. So I practice, every hour, every day. Remember the goat, forgive the rest, don't forget her. I trust peace will come in its own time. I trust I'll love again. I trust that somewhere, somehow, we'll meet. At night I feel her most. The dark wraps the world and a thin thread seems to run from me to her. I talk to the stars like I talk to her, tell them my small truths, hope the wind carries them where they need to go. Time doesn't heal so much as soften the edges. The wound remains, it's proof of a bond that outlived the moment. I visit our places, the park, the cafe, the sunset beach. I look through our photos, each one a whole story trapped in a frame. The ache spikes, then settles. I write her letters I'll never send and feel lighter for it, like we just had a conversation no one else could hear. I try to live the way she'd be proud of, go where she dreamed of going, do what she loved. In everything I do, a piece of her rides along my compass, my north. When the night feels too wide, I remember her laugh. It still cuts through the dark. Sometimes I catch a silhouette in a crowd, and my heart leaps. It's never her. The pain returns, thinner now, but real. I don't fight it. I let it pass. Scars mean I survived. People say time heals. Maybe. I think time teaches. It taught me to cherish minutes, to forgive quicker, to love more deliberately. It taught me that no fear is a myth and courage is choosing anyway. It taught me not to argue with the stars, just to whisper back, I'm not afraid of endings anymore. One day, I'll see her again somewhere beyond this weather, beyond clocks and distance. Until then, I carry her light and try to spend it well. Be kind. Keep promises. Show up. I live for both of us when I have to. I love for both of us when I can. On the worst nights I still sit by the window and talk to her. I feel her answer in the smallest things, a breeze through a screen, a sunbeam that lingers, a song I hadn't heard in years arriving at the exact right moment. The grief burns less now, it's more of a quiet ache, a gentle tug that reminds me how big love can be. If I ever build a family, they'll know her name. They'll hear the stories, read the poems I wrote when the house was too silent. And even if someone new finds the unclaimed rooms in my heart that won't erase Emily, she'll always have her place, first light, first storm, first harbor. For now, I turn the key. The engine catches, the road opens. The sky is scattered with stars, and I pick one and call it hers. I roll the window up just enough to tame the wind, leave it low enough to feel the world. I drive on, scarred, grateful, lit from within by something I lost and still keep. I don't turn toward home. The road keeps unspooling and I let it. Past billboards I half remember and gas stations that still sell cassette adapters like it's a service. By the time I hit the outskirts of Austin, the heat has fallen off a notch and the sky looks like someone rinsed it. I park 2 blocks from the fairgrounds where the festival used to happen. The chain link fence is still there, the posters are newer, the bands are children. I lean against the hood and listen to a soundcheck thump through my ribs, kick, drum, bass. The same promise music always makes and can't keep. I take out the worn notebook I carry and the nights get loud in my head and write her another letter I'll never send. I'm here. The stage is smaller than I remember. I'm taller than I was. Everything else is the same. I tear the page, fold it, and slide it under the wiper blade. Dumb ritual, but that's grief, little private religions that keep your hands busy so your heart doesn't shake itself apart. On the way back to the car, a kid in a sun hat asks me to take a picture of him and his girlfriend. I frame them with the Ferris wheel behind, tell them to tilt their heads, to breathe. The shutter snaps. They thank me and run. I stand there, phone warm in my hand, and it hits me. It doesn't hurt to bless someone else's moment. Not anymore. I drive to the cafe where we used to argue about nothing, mugs that burned our palms, the AC always set to cold. It's still a little too cold. I order what she liked without thinking, then switch to black coffee because I'm not trying to live inside a museum. At the corner table I pull up a draft email I've had saved for years, addressed to her mom. I've never sent it. It just says, "He's okay," meaning me. I stare at the cursor until the barista calls my name. When I sit back down I type 2 more sentences. I thought you should know I still think about her. I hope you're alright. My finger hovers. I don't owe the past anything, but I also don't owe it silence. I hit send and feel that small thud you get when you finally set down a box you've been carrying too far. The reply doesn't come for hours. When it does, it's 3 lines. "Thank you. We think about you too. She would have liked that you still stop for sunsets." I read it twice and tuck my phone away like it might bruise. I spend the night at a cheap motel off I-35, TV glow flickering over carpet that remembers better days. I line up my wallet, keys, phone on the dresser, soldier neat, as if order could keep the dream simple. It doesn't. She's there anyway, not as a ghost, just as a fact. We sit on the back of the pickup again. We don't say sorry or why. We just let our legs swing. I wake up with the shape of her name in my mouth and a feeling like the tide going out. Morning brings breakfast, tacos, and a decision. I drive east till the air tastes like salt and rent a beat-up board from a guy who looks like he's been sunburned for 20 years. Emily once said she wanted to learn to surf, but we never did. The water is a shock. I fall more than I stand. A kid with a chipped tooth shouts tits at me, "Don't understand." And then pure accident, or grace him up for seconds that feel like a life. It's clumsy and perfect. I throw my head back and laugh the way I haven't in a long time. The ocean carries me toward a shore that isn't any different, but I am. Back in the parking lot I sit on the tailgate, shivering and grinning, and open the voice memos app. I scroll past song ideas, grocery lists, a recording of crickets I made to fall asleep to. I stop on the one file I've never played, a saved voicemail from Emily. It's short, 32 seconds. I've been afraid to hear it, like opening a door and finding the room empty. I press play. "Hey, you're probably driving by water, the big jug, not the little ones. Call me when you get to the turn with the weird metal longhorn statue. Love you." That's it. No last words, no secret meaning. Just the ordinary thread of a life that didn't know it was about to tangle. I listen again, not to punish myself, just to hear the cadence, the way she punched the "you" in "love you." Like a nudge. I forward the voicemail to my email and to a second cloud I pay for and to an old hard drive wrapped in a sock. Paranoia. Sure, I'm done gambling with the few things time can't replace. On the way out of town, I stop at a thrift store because I need dry clothes and because grief loves aisles or everything used to belong to someone else. I find a flannel that fits and a paperback she made me read once and I pretended I didn't like. At the register, the clerk asks if I want to round up for the animal shelter. I do. Driving north, I wonder if I have room in my life for a dog that pulls me out of bed in the mornings. I think maybe I do. By the time I cross the river back home, the sun is low and traffic is behaving like it has somewhere better to be. I pass a small park I've never noticed before and pull in on impulse. There's a plaque by the path, in memory of names I don't know. I sit on a bench and let the air do what it does. A father jogs past pushing a stroller, talking to his kid in a voice that breaks me a little and puts me back together. I take out my notebook again. New letter. I tried surfing today. I was terrible. You would have laughed first and then clapped. I sent your mom a note. She wrote back. I think I'm going to adopt a dog. I think I'm going to be okay. I don't leave this one under a wiper. I fold it and slip it into the back pocket I keep for the few things I want to carry forward. At home, I wash the salt off my skin and put the flannel in the dryer and cue up that old country ballad from the drive. I don't let it wreck me. I let it play. I open a new note on my phone and title it Places to Watch the Sky. I add 3 from today and leave space for more. Before bed I step onto the balcony with a glass of water, the big kind, like she told me, and look up. The stars don't answer, but I don't need them to. The thread is still there. Not a leash, not a noose, just a line that tells me where I've been, and points, gently, at where I'm going. Tomorrow it'll text the shelter. It'll keep driving roads that used to make me ache and now just make me quiet. It'll save the voicemail and also the new laughter. It'll make a life that could hold the past without drowning in it. And if the radio throws me that ballad at the wrong moment, it'll let it. It'll roll the window down just enough, like always, and let the wine take what it wants and leave what it can't carry. The next morning I actually text the shelter. They reply faster than I expect. We've got a few new rescues. You around this afternoon? I am. The place is a cinder block cube that smells like bleach and hope. A volunteer named Donnie hands me a clipboard and leads me down the aisle, reading me like a flight attendant. Don't stick your fingers in the kennels. Don't promise anything yet. Breathe. Halfway down, a blue heeler mix sits like a statue while everyone else is auditioning for Broadway. Speckled coat, one ear up, one down, amber eyes that look like they've already seen some things and decided to stay anyway. What's his name? I ask. Came in as Oscar, she says. You can change it. He answers mostly to snacks. I squat. He leans forward, sniffs my knuckles, rests his chin on my wrist like he's placing a claim or asking permission. I feel my throat do that tight thing it does at sunsets and voicemails. Hey, man, I say. You wanna go outside? Donnie smiles and opens the gate. Outside he trots beside me without the leash going taut once. We sit in a patch of shade. He settles with a groan that sounds like agreement. I don't try to name him yet. Names should match the thing you learn on the second day. Paperwork is strangely comforting, boxes to check, lines for initials. I've been living in feelings, lines are relief. I scheduled a home visit, buy a collar that will look good dusty, and leave with a loaner leash and a promise to come back tomorrow. In the car I feel the urge to call Emily and tell her I finally did it, like I used to send her pictures of small victories, burnt pancakes nailed on the second try, a porch hung with crooked lights. I don't call, obviously. Instead I open voice memos and say, we're trying this, I think you'd like him, and save it. On the way home I stop at a hardware store and walk out with things I don't strictly need: gate latch, extra light bulbs, a roll of screen repair, because building anything feels like telling the future you're expecting it. That night I don't dream. In the morning, I clean the apartment like someone I love is coming over, and then someone is. Donnie with a checklist and a smile. She peers under the sink, into the balcony railing, at the spot I've chosen for a dog bed. Looks good, she says. You ready? Ready is a big word. Let's try, I say. He steps into the apartment, does a perimeter sweep like a tiny sheriff, drinks water as if that's his real job, and then collapses with a sigh at the base of the couch. I sit on the floor next to him. Okay, I say okay. The word feels like a key turning. By sundown we've learned 3 things. He hates the blender, loves ice cubes, and comes to Bud like he's been called it his whole life. Not Ranger, not Bowie, not anything grand, but it fits. Dell would have been too on the nose, and anyway, that laugh belongs to her. I keep trying not to turn my life into a shrine, so I do something that isn't about grief at all. I take my guitar down from the closet. The case smells like old wood and barrooms. The strings complain. I tune slow, clean the fretboard, and play the first progression my hands remember. My fingertips find calluses they abandoned years ago. Bud lifts his head, yawns, and puts it on my knee as if to say, it's fine. Keep going. I play until my right wrist aches and my brain stops looping the same from memories, like a broken jukebox. A few days later, an email pings Emily's mom again. I found a box of her state park maps, she writes. She collected them the way other people hoard tote bags. Do you want them? I stare at the screen a long time. Yes. I type. I don't over-explain. The box arrives 2 days later, heavy with paper and air. When I cut the tape and fold back the flaps, the smell hits me, dust and sunblock and something sweet. Each map has circles in pencil, little notes in her quick hand. Perfect picnic hill. Watch for fireflies. Bad coffee. Great sky. I spread them on the floor and Bud noses through them like he's reading. I pick one at random. Enchanted rock. On the back, in the margin, she wrote, "Don't run just because it's a hill, take the switchbacks, dummy." I laugh out loud, the kind that leaks a little salt at the corners. Okay. I think. Well, go. We go. I pack water, the big jug, not the little ones, throw a blanket and a bag of jerky in the truck, and drive west with Bud leaning into every turn like a co-pilot. The rock rises from the land like a thought you can't shake. The trail is all honest work under a big sky. We take the switchbacks, because I'm a fast learner when someone writes in pen. Halfway up, a guy about my age passes us and says, "Good dog." I say thanks. That's it. No, wait. At the top, the wind makes a sound like someone's turning down the volume on the day. I sit with Bud and a cheap sandwich and open my notebook. I write, "You were right about the switchbacks. I wanted to sprint. I didn't." I'm starting to think that's the whole trick. On the way down we pass a family taking a photo, and I offer to shoot it. Mom, Dad, 2 kids with dusty knees. Say something you're grateful for. I tell them instead of counting to 3. They all blurt out different answers and laugh, and the shutter catches it. The mom checks the screen and gets the wet look around the eyes. "Thank you," she says, and I believe she means for more than the picture. Back in town I go to my first grief group. It meets in a church basement that smells like coffee and floor cleaner. A circle of metal chairs. People with hands that fidget and eyes that don't pretend. When it's my turn I talk about the voicemail and the box of maps and the dog with the practical name. I say, "I'm not sure if I'm here to let go or to learn how to hold without crushing." A woman with a braid down her back nods like she's been waiting for that sentence. The facilitator says, "Both can be true," in the gentle voice of someone who knows how long it takes to solve a paradox. After group I walk but under a line of sycamores and notice I'm not scanning every face for her anymore. I still look at the sky too much, but that's a habit I don't want to break. I start playing open mix again. Nothing big. Tuesday nights in rooms where the paw is always a little wrong and the bartender knows to drop the lights during slow songs. I write something that's not about Emily, or at least not only about Emily. It's about the way water remembers stones, about learning to stand on a board and then not, about the switchbacks. People clap in that small warm way and a kid afterward asks me about the chord change in the bridge. I show him. He gets it under his fingers and grins like he's just found a door that was always there. Weak stretch and then fold. Bud learns stay and almost learns leave it and entirely fails to learn that squirrels are not his business. I add to the places to watch the sky list. A parking garage top level no one uses on Sundays, the little pullout on 71 where the mesquite frame the horizon, the dead-end street behind the ball field where the lights spill gold and the air smells like cut grass. I text a couple of friends more often. I call my dad. I buy better coffee. I stop rereading the same 3 emails at midnight as if there's a test. One afternoon the phone rings with a number I don't have saved but recognize anyway. I let it go to voicemail and listen with my thumb hovering. It's Emily's brother. His voice is older, steadier. "Hey, man, Mom said you wrote. There's a memorial 5,000 next month for that scholarship in her name. No pressure, obviously. Thought you'd want to know." He leaves a link. I stare at Bud. He tilts his head like a punctuation mark. "We're not runners," I tell him. He wags in a way that reads, "We learn." So we run badly at first, then just slightly less badly. I learn to be the person stretching on a curb. Bud learns that leash and cadence are related. The mornings we run, the rest of the day opens. The race day is all t-shirts and safety pins and damn, bear. There are posters with her picture, college smile, hair pulled back, the version of her that looks like she could outrun anything. I pin my number crooked. Emily's mom sees me before I see her. We stand there an awkward beat and then not. We hug the gentle kind of hug you give people handling live wires. Her brother claps me on the shoulder. "Thanks for coming," he says. "You were part of her story." I say, "She's part of my," because leaving it unsaid would be dishonest. I don't run fast. I don't try. I keep my eyes on the back of a teenager in a neon shirt and on Bud's ears as they bounce in a metronome I didn't know I needed. At the finish line there's water, the big kind, not the little ones, and a table with bananas and a flyer about the scholarship. I write a check that doesn't fix anything and helps something anyway. That night, tired in the good way, I take the maps back out. I circle the places we've been and add dates. I choose another, Palo Duro. In the margin, I write in my own messy hand, go slow through the turns, the canyon doesn't care if you're late. I slip that map into the pocket where I keep the letter I wrote on the park bench, into the same folder as the voicemail backups. A little archive that isn't a shrine so much as a ledger of becoming. Before bed I stand by the window with Bud leaning on my shin and the city humming like it's practicing a sonnet hasn't finished yet. I think about how love changes shape, from flame to ember to the thing you build your house around so winter doesn't get inside. I think about how grief isn't a problem to solve but a landscape to learn, and that landscapes have trails if you're patient enough to find them. Good night, I say, because some rituals are doors, not cages. The star I picked for her is behind a cloud, but the cloud is a temporary member of the cast. I turn off the light, but circles twice and drops like a felled tree. The apartment clicks and settles around us, and for the first time in a long time, I fall asleep without bracing, held up by the ordinary weight of a dog at my feet, a box of maps by the door, and a future I can name in pencil. 2 weeks later I point the truck north and keep the promise I wrote in the margin, Palo Duro. Bud rides shotgun like he pays the insurance, nose at the vent, eyes working the horizon. The canyon sneaks up the way big things do, flat, 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 and then the earth remembers it knows how to open. We take the rim first, easy miles to warm up. I let the quiet do its job. Down below, switchback stitch the red walls like someone learned from ripping a seam once. A couple in matching hats asks if he'll take their photo. I line them up with the cliff line, tell them to breathe, and catch the exact second their shoulders drop. When I hand the phone back the woman says, "You should do this for a living." I smile. I'm already alive. We camp. First time in years. I fight a tent pole like it owes me money, and then it becomes a home. The way simple things do once you stop arguing with them. Dinner is jerky and an orange, but eats like a machine and then flops across my boots, ownership by gravity. At dusk I open Emily's box of maps and lay Palo Duro on my lap. In the margin I add one more line under hers, go slow through the turns, you'll see more deer. Wind comes up at midnight and works the nylon like a drummer with opinions. I lie awake and listen. Grief used to ride that wine straight through me. Now it knocks, and if I'm not up for company, it waits. That feels like progress. In the morning, we drop to the floor of the canyon, but discovers lizards, dust, and whatever religion dogs practice when they're allowed to be dogs. At a creek crossing I crouch to splash my face and catch my reflection, a little more sun, a little less haunted. I say thanks, to nobody in particular and to everyone who got me here, including the version of me who didn't sprint the hill. On the way home I stop at a roadside stand for peaches. The vendor is an older guy with sunburned forearms and a radio set 2 a.m. We talk weather and dogs. He points his chin at Bud. He chose you. I nod. Best way, he says, and puts an extra peach in the bag. For the road. Back in Austin I start showing up at the shelter on Saturdays. I'm useless the first day, too much heart, not enough timing, but Donnie hands me a pocket full of liver treats and a list and I learn. There's a brindle mutt no one can get out of the kennel. I sit on the floor 3 weeks in a row and talk about nothing until he confuses boredom with trust, and that's all the door needs to swing. There's a pair of bonded seniors we wrangle into a stroller for some laps. Bud comes by sometimes, leaning into the bars like a union rep reminding the new guys it gets better. Music pulls me sideways again. I say yes to a short set at a weeknight songwriter thing, dim room, cables like vines, 3 people who might be listening and 6 who definitely are. I play the one about water remembering stones and a new one that starts. It's a joke about a dog who hates the blender and turns into something about how we all need gentler thresholds. After, a woman with the kind of braid that says I finish what I start tells me, that second one thanks. We talk easy. Her name is Nora. She teaches 7th grade. Runs slowly on purpose, as a laugh that lands soft. When she asks about Bud, I realize she listened to the song more than she scanned me. That matters. We don't make anything of it that night, just to see you around that doesn't reach for anything it can't hold. Still, I walk home lighter, fingers buzzing from strings and possibility. The Memorial 5000 turns into Tuesdays that include running shoes. But and I learn a loop through streets that smell like tortillas by noon and sprinklers by 6. The first cool front sneaks in one morning and the air tastes like mercy. I add a new rule to my little list of rules. If the sky changes, stop and look. Nora texts once is the open mic still a thing? And shows up with a notebook and a will to try. Her song is messy and true. Mine used to be the other way around. We trade. Emily's mom mails another box photos this time, packed like glass. I open it at the table and Bud puts his chin next to my elbow like he's reading. The top photo is us on the pickup roof, her hair doing exactly what it wanted, my hand in the shape of don't drop this. I send a picture of the picture to her mom with a simple got them. Thank you. The reply is a heart and she loved that truck more than she let on. I sit with that for a while. Love hides in funny places. I keep building small, boring structures that hold a life, replace the wobbly chair, fix the leaky faucet, put a real bulb in the hallway and stop kicking the shoebox that used to live there. I print the waveform from Emily's voicemail and frame it black line on off-white paper, hung by the door. Not a monument, a reminder to buy water and to answer when I'm called by name. One Sunday, Bud and I stumble on a parking garage whose top level is a perfect sky deck nobody uses. I add it to the list and invite the grief group people for a low-stakes evening. Thermoses, cheap folding chairs, no speeches. 6 show up. Nora too, with a bag of clementines and the kind of smile you trust. We sit and let the light do its hour. Nobody fixes anybody. It's the least dramatic healing it ever seen. After sundown, the braid woman turns out her name is Leela says, I hate how grief taught me patience, but am grateful to have it. I don't have a smarter thing to say, so I nod. But takes turns leaning on everyone like a weighted blanket that can wag. Work comes along. I'm not turning into a saint. I still swear at email and eat cereal over the sink. But I also catch myself closing the laptop at a sane hour because the sky is doing a thing and I promise to notice. I find a cheap second-hand 35mm and start taking photos, the slow way again 36 chances per roll to consider what matters. The first developed batch comes back full of bad exposures and one shot so right it makes my chest ache. Bud mid-shake, water like confetti, a kid laughing in the background. Everything ordinary and lit from the right angle. A message pings one afternoon from a name I haven't seen in years, one of Emily's friends. We're putting together a small bench at the park. No pressure, but if you want to add a line, send it. I stare at the cursor. Words are my jaunt, band my escape, and this wants neither. I type. Leave room for the sky. I almost delete it for being too simple. I don't. A month later there's a plaque on a bench near the little hill where people fly kites badly. The line is there in metal. People read it and look up without knowing why. That's enough. Nora and I keep crossing paths on purpose. A Saturday turns into a farmer's market, turns into coffee, turns into do you want to bring bout. We make a rule early. No ghosts at the table. We can say their names, but we don't set a place for them. When I tell her about the maps, she asks to see them, then traces a route with her finger and says, there's a bakery near this trailhead that burns cinnamon rolls in the middle, but the edges are perfect. I grin. Edges sound like our speed. We go. We hike. We split the roux in perfect roll and watch a hawk draw circles on an invisible chalkboard. On the drive back she dozes with her cheek in her paw and Bud's heading her lap, and I feel a warm, terrifying gratitude that doesn't look like replacement. It looks like addition. Some nights still bite. A smell. A song. A word on someone else's tongue. And my chest goes tight like a fist. I don't fight it or feed it. I take Bud out, let the night air work the knot. I tell the sky, I miss her, out loud. The sky carries it without advice. I start a small project from the places to watch the sky list, nothing grand. Just a zine I print at the library with a stapler and a stubborn printer. A page per place, one photo, one sentence. I leave copies at coffee shops with a note, at yours. Strangers do. Behind the laundromat at 8:10. The alley between the theater and the deli. Roof of the hospital garage. Best at shift change. I tape the new ones on my fridge. It turns into a map of quiet. At the shelter, that Brindle finally gets adopted by a couple who bring him back for pets on Saturdays. Donnie jokes that have been promoted to bench sitter level 2. I take it. I learn how to clip nails without getting bit, how to spot the moment a scared dog decides you're safe. It's the same moment people do. The shoulders drop. The exhale happens. The world gets one notch easier. On the anniversary I didn't see coming, Grief's calendar never matches Google's. I drive out to the lawn, straight road, where the radio first betrayed me. I bring the big jug of water and a sandwich and Bud's ridiculous squeaky donut. I don't make a speech. I cue up the voicemail and listen once. Then I roll the window down, let the wine take the heat, and talk about small things. The bench, the zine, the way Bud pretends to understand chords. You were right about so much, I tell the air. I'm learning the rest. Heading back, I pull off at a dirt turnout. If never try. There's nothing there, no plaque, no view, just a strip of land where the sky gets big in a hurry. I add it to the list. Unnamed turnout, mile marker 212, best when you don't need a reason. At home that night, I cook too much pasta and invite Nora over with the shameless line, "Help, or I'll eat all of it." She brings salad and the story of a student who wrote a poem about a bus schedule that made her cry, in the good way. We eat on the floor because the table is covered in maps and photos and the first draft of the next scene. Bud falls asleep with a noodle on his paw like proof. Before she leaves, Nora looks at the framed waveform by the door and asks, not like a test, "What's that?" I tell her. She nods, steps closer, and says, "I like that she told you to buy water." Me too. I say, "I still do." After the door clicks shut, I wash dishes to the sound of the city and the soft drum of Bud's feet chasing a dream. I think about what it'd say to whoever needs it next, the kid at the open mic, a stranger in a basement chair, the version of me who used to speed the hill. Maybe this: go slow through the turns, carry a big joke, leave room for the sky, learn your dog's language, write it down, say the names without turning them into anchors, build small structures you can live inside. And when the radio plays the wrong song at the wrong time, roll the window down and let the wind edit. I turn off the light and stand a beat in the dark. Somewhere out there a hawk is still circling, the bench is still catching people who didn't know they were tired. The shelter dogs are sleeping with one ear up, and a map is waiting on my desk with a pencil line half drawn. I'm not done. I don't want to be. Good night, I say, to the past, to the dog, to whatever is listening. Bud sighs. The apartment settles. The thread holds not a leash, not a noose, just a line that lets me look forward without losing where I came from.